Does your Craftsman DLT lawn tractor move fine on flat ground but slows down or just won't go up an incline? Could it be the ground drive belt, the idler pulleys, belt tension spring, the Transaxle pulley, linkage adjustments, or just the Transaxle condition? Watch this video how I show you how I diagnose this problem step by step and how I go from this to this. The first thing I did was to jack the rear end of this tractor up, pull the lever out to freewheel it, and turn these wheels by hand. The reason for doing this was to check to see if the brakes were frozen. I was hoping that maybe they didn't open up all the way and these wheels were hard to turn, but they turned the way they should. So that easy fixes out. Next, I said, well, it's either the transmission or we have a belt, the drive belt underneath slipping. So to get to the drive belt, you have to pull out this deck. Now, this deck has new belts on it. So my assumption is that the belt underneath is new. I hope I'm wrong on that, because I really don't want to be changing transmissions or pulling the transmission apart. My next step is to hoist this tractor up, take a look at the belt, and I'm really hoping it's the belt that's bad on it. I'm going to be using this hoist. I used to use a come along. I have a few videos in my playlist on me using a come along to raise these tractors, but I want to point this out. If you're going to hoist up your tractor, make sure you don't do it on this part here, but on the axle itself. See, on both sides I have it on the axle. If you hoist it up by this over here, you're going to bend this piece. Let me get this tractor in the air, take a look underneath. Looks like this belt's in good shape. I was hoping to find a cracked belt. But this is looking fine. Tension on it's fine also. Sometimes you'll get debris under here that'll keep it from engaging properly. On most of these tractors, they will have a diagram on how these belts have to go. This is under the left side when you're sitting on the tractor. And there's a lot of oil under here. This tractor had an engine swap. It has the Harbor Freight engine on it, and the reason I got it, Sears couldn't figure out how to wire it, and I ended up with this. Putting some of this up over here. This belt's a little worn, but that belt's a lot worse than this. No problem. These pulleys turn. Okay. Maybe this. I'm gonna have to put this camera down. I want to check this pulley over here. If this pulley's seized up, that could be part of the problem. Because instead of rolling, the belt could be dragging on this pulley and that could be slowing it down. So let me check this out and I'll be back. The more I think about this, the more I think it's not the transmission. The previous owner had this new engine installed. It looks like he put brand new belts on it. If the transmission was slipping, would he have gone through the expense of swapping out that engine? Now this engine goes for about $700, $800 today, I'm not even sure. It's 2026 now. This has been in there for 2 years. It never ran. After I connected the wires properly, I was able to drive this tractor up and down the lawn. So what happened from the time I got that rewired to now? Did something loosen up underneath, or did that transmission just go at that time? I'm going to check to see if I can find a manual for this unit and see if I can get some insight before I do anything else. My next step is to remove these wheels. I wanted to raise this up high enough that I could crawl underneath. If you're just removing your wheels, it's not necessary to raise it this high. Just needed about a ½ inch, an inch off the ground, and you'll be able to get the wheels off. In my case, I'm going to be crawling underneath to get that Transaxle out. Now I have it up on this hoist, and my intention was to remove the hoist and just have it on the jack stands, but I really don't trust these jack stands on this hill. So what I'm doing, I have the weight of the tractor on the jack stands, and I'm using this hoist as a backup. But the main weight is on the jacks. If you've never done this before, to remove these tires, as long as they're not stuck, is a relatively simple process. Let me position this camera. We'll be right up and we'll get right. Okay, I believe that's in focus. Get yourself a pair of channel locks or large pliers and remove this rubber cap. If this cap is difficult to remove, just get a heat gun for a couple of seconds on it. Just get it now and just squeeze it. Try to do it without breaking it. And it'll come right off. Oh, those pliers didn't work. Let's try these channel locks. That didn't go as smooth as I like. Alright, so we got it off. Now, this wheel has the C-clip and this washer. The washer is what this gets connected to. So to get the C-clip off, let's get a screwdriver. Give this a little twist. Okay. Hold on to that, you don't want to lose it. The washer. And now, if everything goes right, the wheel should slide right off. I'm going to get a punch and put a punch in here and just tap it slightly with a hammer. This wheel's stuck, but it's not all that bad. And the fact that this is up on the jack stands, I really can't go yanking on this right now. So I'm going to get the punch and a hammer and I'll be back. I soaked it a little with my mix of 50-50 acetone and transmission fluid. Gave it a couple of squirts in there. I let it sit, run it around, got the other side. Now the other side, I know I'm going to have a problem. It didn't have this cap on it and it's all rusted. This one here, just a little snug. So what I'm going to do is use this punch and this hammer, give it a couple of shots to shock it. Sometimes it's just that little bit of rust that has to break free. There we go. And there we go. Alrighty. See this wheel? This looks like somebody had it off maybe once before. This is grease. So somebody did have some grease on there. I don't know how long it's been on there. This is an old unit. As I mentioned before, this was an engine swap that sat for a few years, wasn't running. And to make a long story short, I don't know what I'm going to find when I start taking this apart. Who did what and when. Anyway, I'm going to take the wheel off on the other side. And then I'm going to take another look underneath here to see how I'm going to tackle taking this transaxle out. And once I start on the transaxle, I'll be back. I'm checking a couple other things out. And I found something a little disturbing. Let me show you. While I was under here checking out what had to be disconnected, I spun this axle. Listen to this. I don't know if the microphone's picking that up. Grinding sound. I don't know if I have a gear that's going or if this is just low on fluid. I won't know until I pull it out and dump it out and see how much fluid is in there. Now while I'm under here, let me show you how I'll be taking it apart on this side. We have, on each side you have 2 nuts and bolts. Here we go. Holding this onto the axle. And then in the front of the unit, I hope this is in focus, you have these 2 bolts here bolting the transaxle onto this bracket. Now I could either take these 2 bolts out, or I could come to the side and remove this bolt, and on the other side for some reason there's a nut and bolt. I don't know if this came out before, if that's the way it goes. To remove this transaxle, I have to loosen this belt. So I'm going to put the brake on, and that would loosen the belt automatically. And then one of those pulleys up front, I'm just going to slide this belt off one of the pulleys, and that'll give me enough room to where I should be able to slide this belt over the fan. You want to be careful not to break this fan. It's very important. It cools this transaxle down. So now that's what we look like underneath. I'm still not sure whether I'm going to remove this bolt and the nut and bolt on the other side, or these two on this side. I'm not too sure on the brake situation, and this is the lever that engages it. Someplace up here there's a cap. I think I found it right over here where you could put oil in. But again, this unit has the gas tank above the transaxle, and if I want to get in from the back, I would have to take this plate off. I'm not sure what else would come off, but I'm going to go with the direction of taking the transaxle out. Now, something I didn't mention before when I pulled the wheel off, let me get to this. When you take the wheel off, you're going to have one of these pins. It goes into the axle and the wheel over here. If you don't put this pin in, you're not going anywhere. The axle will turn and the wheels will stand still. I didn't mention this when I removed the wheel earlier. I want to point it out now. This is the braking mechanism. I want to point out a couple more tips. We have these pieces on the axle. To keep track of them, I just put that C-clip back on so they won't fall off. You can always take them off, put them in a cup, but this way they're where they belong and I don't have to worry about them. Second tip, when you're removing this brake or any other parts, it'd be a good idea to put a towel down, especially if you're working outside. This way any parts that fall will fall onto the towel and won't bounce off into the grass. If you're working in your shop, they always seem to bounce and get into a spot. You'll never find it at. These are the two tips I have for now. To get the brake off, you have these two bolts, one on each side. When you remove these bolts, that brake shoe and that pad will fall out. The other brake shoe is behind this disc, which we're not going to remove right now. And to get this part off, it just slides up and over. There's a bar in here that gets pushed over. It did take two hands. That bar just gets pushed over and it slides through this hole over here. And this is the brake assembly. As I mentioned once before, take pictures of everything you have. If your unit is identical to the one I have here, you could use this video and just stop it or play it in slow motion to see what goes where when you put it back together. Okay, we have this out of the way. I also removed, this was off camera, I also removed this lever. This is to engage the transmission and disengage it. When you pull it out, you can roll the transmission. When you want to drive, you have to push it in. And to remove it, it's just this pin that holds it in with a little washer that goes in front of it. So that piece goes on, the washer, then this pin. Again, I put it back where it belongs so I don't have to keep track of it. On this other side, we have the lever that controls the transmission when you want to go faster, slower. It comes through here. I already removed the nut that holds it on. It requires a 1/2 inch wrench to get that nut off. I'm starting to think on this particular model, it may be easier to remove the fender and the gas tank to work from the top down. But to disassemble it, reassemble it, it might be easier working from the top. My next step now is I have to get these control rods out of the way so I can slide this transmission out. Because you can see as I jack it up, wrong way, as I jack it up, the transmission is still hung up. And it's hung up on those levers over there. So I have to remove those. Once I do, I'll have the transmission out. We'll check the oil, see how much oil is in there. And I'm hoping it's just that this transmission needs fluid. And I don't need a new transmission for this. I ended up removing the footrest fender to get this transmission out. I never had so much trouble dropping the transmission on one of these units. I couldn't find a way to disconnect this bar. And the linkage for this is back in here. There's a cotter pin, but you can't get to this cotter pin because the fender footrest is on top of the gas tank and the gas tank is on top of this. So there's no way to get to this cotter pin that I could think of. If anybody else knows of a way, let me know. But anyway, I removed the fender footrest, and that's in a video up above if you want to see how that's done. A couple things I want to point out about this transmission. I thought maybe this was worked on once before because I see the sealant, but on the diagram of it, it does have a number where it says sealant. So part of it looks like it might have a gasket, part of it looks like it's done with sealant. I didn't have any of my degreaser. I usually use that solvent green. Didn't have any left. I used some Dawn and water, and I cleaned it up with a toothbrush just to make it a little easier to work on. And what I found out, looking at the diagram, this is the plug to fill it with oil. This is an overflow canister here, and there's a tube in here that connects this to the transaxle itself. And if you had to remove this, it looks like this is the only screw that's holding this on, and that's a self-tapping screw. What I did notice, there was a lot of oil and grease all up in here. So I was thinking maybe this had a leak somewhere. I don't know where, but this fan was pretty greasy. You can see over here I missed some of the grease. There's a lot of grease up on the top end of this. I was hoping that I had a leak somewhere. And this plug over here was something to loosen up. This is a 1/4 inch Allen wrench. And I had this in here with a vice grip attached, and it did not want to budge. What I did, use a ball peen hammer. I tapped it several times. I tried tightening it, then loosening it, tighten it, then loosen it, hit it a few more times, get a few good whacks, and with quite a bit of force on this vice grip, holding it close to the plug, it finally popped. I didn't want to use any heat because in the diagram I saw that this plug had a rubber O-ring on the bottom, and when I looked it up online, this little plug over here goes for $8. I might be able to find a better price if I scroll around, but $8 for a little plug. And loosening this up, I was a little disheartened. Look at this. I was hoping that this would be dry in here, and that was going to be my problem. But the oil comes right to the top. Dirty, but right to the top. This may just have an internal problem and not from being dry. Then again, I'm hoping maybe this oil lost its slickness, and maybe that's causing a problem. In for a penny, in for a pound. I'm going to drain this oil. I'll show you what the bottom of this looks like. And once it's drained, I'm going to go pick up a couple of quarts. According to the diagram, this thing takes, let's see. It takes 78.8 ounces, which is 2.465 quarts. So almost 2.5 quarts it takes. Hate to waste all that oil in there, but we give it a shot. And the oil that it uses is 20W50 oil. I'm going to flip this over, let it drain into a bucket, and I'll show you the bottom side of this. While that's draining out, I found these numbers on the bottom. I don't know if this is the year this Transaxle was made. There's a 1 over here. Maybe that's the month. Then there's a 15 stamped over here. I don't know if that's the date. And there's a 02 over here. I'm assuming that's the year that this Transaxle was either made or maybe installed. We're in June of 2026, 24 years and 5 months old. So this may be well past its time. This is why I thought this was worked on once before. We have all this gasket material over here. But that may be just from the factory. So I'm going to drain this out. Once it's drained out, I'm going to measure how much oil was in there. It looked like it was right to the top. I'm on a little bit of a hill. It's inside of a wheelbarrow. So we'll measure that oil once it's done. Move the vent cap on this side and drain what's in this expansion tank. Once I'm done with this, show you the oil, and then I'm going to get to reinstalling this into the tractor. This may have all been a waste of time, but we'll see. And again, this is the model number over here. If you have this particular tractor, if you have this particular model, it's a Hydro Gear 17389 323 510, and I believe this is a serial number down here, 2021 H Harry 2372. All right, let me finish this up and I'll be back. Drained all that oil, and you can see there's a little gray matter in there. That's usually a bad sign. A lot of times I'll see this in sign of the crankcase where the aluminum parts are wearing down. This oil is filthy though. I'm just hoping that it was the dirty oil that did it. I think the oil that I'm going to put in there is just a waste of time and money. But you know what? Unless you try, you don't know. So now I'm going to get this oil. I'm going to pour it into this empty container to see how much oil is actually in there. Maybe it is a little on the low side. We'll see in just a minute here. John, you have that. You want to pour or you want to hold?
I'll pour.
You sure?
Why didn't you...
Oh, it's like sludge. Just hold it like that for. Hold that and hold this. Got them?
Yep.
Hold this too.
It's good. It's good.
Well, hold it. Okay. Still dripping?
Nope, it stopped.
Hold it. No, hold it.
It's okay. Then let me put it on the thing.
Look how much is in there. Look how much is still coming out, see? Okay. It's still in there, but I'll be here all night. Okay. Yeah, I don't think the camera would pick it up, but there was a lot of gray in there.
Yeah.
More than I wanted to see.
You're cooked.
Let's see now. I was hoping to find the oil level being low, but this looks like it's right on the money. Here's 2 quarts. Here's 3. Oh wait, it might have been a little low. Okay, here's the 2 quart mark. Here's the 3 quart mark. And it should have been a little 2 1/4. 2 1/2 quarts would be over here. So it should have been someplace where my finger is. And it's a little under that. But that little amount to make that much of a difference, I don't know. I'm going to fill it with clean oil, put it back together. Once I have it together, I'll ride it around and see if this made a difference or not. John, okay, I got it down to 3, so that means there's 2 quarts in there. I'm going to pour the rest of this into a cup. This way I don't overfill. All right, this makes up the difference. There we go. Okay, you can see it's up to the top. Let's see something here. I'm going to get a drill and rotate the shaft to see if we could purge the air out of here and to get this axle to rotate. Alright, this is a little bit of an overfill, but it's going down on its own without me doing anything. Give it a couple of seconds and then we'll start spinning it again. Okay, John.
Backwards?
Yeah, that'd be fine. Johnny's putting it in gear for me. I gotta have the drill on it. And let's see if I get this camera on top of it here.
Here, I'll hold it. I could get it.
Watch your hands free, so if it slips, you could grab it. Okay, here we go. Watch your fingers.
Oh, it's done. All the things done. All the things done.
Now the wheels are turning. The axle's turning.
Stuff just fell.
Okay.
Hey.
Johnny told me that the fluid went down. Let me see. Johnny said the fluid went down. Let me come around and see here. Okay. It's still near the top here. Slide this up, Johnny. Push it towards me. Okay. Now, you were pulling it forward.
I was going that way.
Backwards? Now I need you to go forward.
It's not going to do it though.
Watch. Here, hold this. Pull it down. Got it?
It's down.
Okay, I tell you what. I'll hold it. You do the drill.
Okay. Is it
Okay,
kickback?
No, it's not like it's not. Okay, the level went down to about the bottom of the threads, and I'm going to take that as being full. I'm going to put the plug back in, and when you put it in, make sure you have that O-ring on it. And once I have this all together, we'll start it up and see if this made a difference or if this was just an exercise. Well, it's worth it. So you ride downhill. Bringing it around, coming back up the hill. This is where it wouldn't budge before. It just stopped right there. Yeah. Forward motion, backward motion, and that's our wrap. If you enjoyed this video and found it useful, give it a like. It does help. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe. Until next time, happy mowing and stay safe.